that one stalker once again getting a little bit too close to that army and going to go down to the combined fire of those Marauders. And it looks like the Protoss player and the Terran player are going to glide to the top of the ramp. Those Zealots frantically trying to chase down these units, but of course with the concussive shell research finished for the Terran player right now, he is unable to catch up to those Marauders because he is doing a great job of kiting these units away, and this Immortal getting a little bit too far away from his army. Luckily, the Terran player had retreated back far enough that he did not have to worry about losing that unit. The Protoss player continuing to produce Immortals out of his robotics facility, and he has not gone for the Colossi tech yet, which I'm a little bit surprised about that too, because Colossi are actually very strong against the infantry, even when they go Marauder heavy. If you can get a few of those Colossi, that damage piles up very quickly here, although it looks like he is getting the robotics bay right now, so we may indeed see that very soon here. But looking at his robotics facility, he is still cranking out those Immortals right now. And the Terran player putting down a scan to keep an eye on what's going on inside the Protoss base, since he was not able to make it up into his base with this small infantry army. And looks like the Ghost being protected by the rest of the army right now. And I'm not sure if he does have EMP yet. It does look like he has that research, and he does have enough energy to cast it. So I would expect to see him drop an EMP on the Protoss army next time they face off. But it looks like he is going to move into the Protoss base once again and continue to keep this pressure on him. Of course, those Marauders, once again, are very, very good against the Zealots, especially if you take a shot and back up, which that slowing effect that the concussive shells has slows the Zealots down enough that they cannot catch up. And if the Twilight Council getting focus fire down, I'm not even sure if Hitchens was able to cancel that. And there's the EMP. You can see how strong that is against the Immortals. The Immortals' hardened shields are what really make it worthwhile. But with that EMP taking the shields down completely, because the Immortal does only have 100 shields, he was able to make that Immortal basically ineffective. Only one Immortal still has shields left, and we see that the Terran player is continuing to stream reinforcements across the map right now. And another battle going down right now. This Terran player is just absolutely ruthless, continually coming in, picking off a unit or two, and then backing up again. And it looks like these Immortals are going to try to move in and do some damage here, although one of them almost getting focus fired down, only a few hit points left, but the Terran player is going to back off right now. So Azreal going to have to take his time, possibly macro up some more reinforcements, and it looks like at this point in time, Hitchens has decided to take his natural expansion because the Terran player, Azreal, has not put pressure on the front of his base. He is strictly focusing on this backdoor entrance, so thinking that he is possibly safe to put that up, he is going to try to get that expansion. And meanwhile, back at the base of Azreal, he has just recently started his own command center. So both players moving on to their first expansion, getting ready to get some more economy in this game, and the Protoss players getting scanned once more. So the first Colossi on the map, the Terran player is aware of that now, and it looks like he's going to move in and try to snipe some of these pylons, almost getting one pylon, and the EMP going down again. 2 EMPs, so pretty much all the shields, I believe, are gone. Yeah, you can see all the shields for these Protoss units, with the exception of one Zealot here, have completely been taken down, and that Colossi nearly getting fired down. But the Colossus, as you can see, already has 3 kills, so definitely you can see how powerful these Colossi are against those infantry army mixes that the Terran player is sticking to right now. But going back to his base, he does have his engineering bay up and running, and his Ghost Academy does not yet have a nuke in it. I would kind of like to see that, to be honest, because nukes are a lot of fun, and with them being so cheap now, they're definitely a viable option in the Terran strategy, but you still do not see them getting used a whole lot. I'm not sure if that's just because they still are not viable enough to use in everyday games, or if it's just because people are still in the mindset that because they were so unusable in StarCraft 1 that they are also not usable in StarCraft 2. But I would really like to see more players start incorporating that into their gameplay. But for the time being, it looks like Azreal is going to stick with this Marauder infantry build and getting those Marines in there as well. It would probably be a good idea for him to also get some medevacs in the mix so that he can heal this Terran infantry army, especially with the capabilities of Stimpak. That can make infantry absolutely deadly. But both players now have their expansion up and running, and they are beginning to get a pretty good saturation on their mineral lines, although you can see currently the Protoss player does have better saturation. They have about a 200 mineral per minute advantage, so they are going to be jumping ahead a little bit in the income right now, so they will have more options to them as far as how big of an army they can produce. And the Terran player finally getting down a factory here, so I believe the factory does unlock the nuclear capabilities. Yeah, it does, so we will see if he pulls out a nuke here, which would actually be amazing to see. And it looks like the Protoss player, Hitchens, is moving out across the map, going to fortify his position out here in the middle. And the Terran player, Azreal, backing off for the time being. He does not want to engage that force yet. You can see that he is aware of that because he does have control of the xel'naga watchtower, and it looks like Hitchens is walking around trying to see if there are any hidden expansions over here that he is not yet aware of. And of course there is none other than the natural outside of his base, but Hitchens is going to push up into the Terran player's base here, and he could be in some trouble here because with 2 Colossi and a very zealot heavy army, he may have some problems taking down this this Protoss army just because of the sheer size of it, especially with those Immortals overhead. I'm sorry, those Colossi overhead. Although another great EMP from the Terran player, and it looks like he is going to continue to use that micro with the Marauders and even bringing the SCVs out to help because he's in a bad situation and managing to take out all the Zealots, but there still are these 2 Colossi to deal with. Oh, actually 1 lone Zealot remaining behind, and you can just see how powerful those Colossi are once again, just completely decimating that Terran army. And Azreal is going to be forced to lift off his command center and fly it away so that he does not lose it, although if he is not able to macro up a small amount of units here very quickly, he could be in trouble. 2 lone Marines moving out against the Protoss player's base, but they're going to get shot down very quickly by those Zealots. And it looks like the Protoss player now pushing up into the Terran player's base. Azreal is in some serious trouble here as he is getting overrun by these 3 Immortals with the backup of his Colossi and 2 Zealots. So it looks like this game may be all but over for Azreal right now, but he is going to try to stay in this a little bit longer and stick it out, sneaking his command center over here, and no, he is going to GG. So game 1 going to Hitchens in this 1v1 matchup for the tournament. We are going to move on to game 2 right now and see if Azreal can pull himself back into this game.